Straya, how are you going? I hope you're right. You bloody well should be, because it is Wednesday, hump day, July 3rd, all day. Yeah, that's right. No fooling. I'm your host, James Clements. You can see me on the AFL Today show, as well as the official AFL Supercoach podcast, of course, here in the fancy studio. Why is that, Jim? Well, you see, I've got other things to do. But also, I just like standing up and walking around and doing stuff. So if you're not watching this on YouTube, what are you doing? Either way, today, we have Jack White on the show. That's right. Dun, 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 dun. Seven Nation Army would not hold him back from being on NBA Straya. Also, we'll talk some more free agency. Paul George goes to the Sixers. Obviously, mere hours after we wrapped on Monday's show, because of course he did, because he's a jerk, but I love that. Another Aussie got traded. Apparently, we're just knocking them all over. This is getting ridiculous. Josh Green goes to Charlotte. We'll break all that down. We've got more trades. Donovan Mitchell got a big extension. Jason Tatum did as well. We're going to talk about all those deals. The good thing is, like, free agency sort of slowing down now, 3 days in. We're getting to the real dregs of it, like LeBron James and stuff like that. I'll take a pay cut. No, I won't. Nice one. Classic LeBron. We'll also talk about the Boomers. The first game in the exhibition series against China. Keeps the rabbits out of China. I enjoyed that. I loved, like, John Casey doing the call, but it's like China. It's like, all right, got it. But it's an interesting game. We'll talk it all out. Jack McVeigh. Just saying, called it here first. Right. Do some nars. We'll just talk out some stuff. We'll talk actually probably our squad selection for the Boomers going to Paris. We'll see what happens. But also, there's a really good chat with Jack White in there, so you better stick around. Without further ado, let's get into it. 1,124. That's the number of this episode here of NBA Straya. Let's go!
This is Joe Ingles, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
Watch out for the Shaq Attack.
Oh, you better watch out for the Duop, the Grim Reef, the Great Barrier Reef attack if you're that Chinese bloke. How's the headbutt? Do you see that, producer Gerald? Duop just goes, what are you doing, dickhead? Bang! Just gives it to him, just right there. And the dude, the Chinese bloke, just goes, somebody's been shot! It was me! And like does like a bloody backward somersault essentially into like the 87th row of John Cain Arena. Anyway, that was pretty fun. Yeah, I didn't go to the Tuesday night game. I didn't get accreditation. Geez, Jimmy, you not important? No, I'm really not. But at the same time, I had a great time. I couldn't have gone anyway because old mate's up in Sydney for a couple of days. So your old mate Jim is like solo parenting. It is like the combination of awesome and shit. Like, they're rad. You just love hanging out with the squids. They're cool dudes. And then at the same time, when they're up at like, you know, between, I think I put the first, you know, the baby down to bed at like 8, before 8. It was like 7:30 is his bedtime. It's all good. Then he starts chirping at about 8:15. You're like, go back to sleep. And he starts chirping again at 10. It's like, go back to sleep. And then it's 11. Then it's 11:45. And then it's 12:30. And then it's 1:15. You're like, I'm just going to go walk into traffic. This will be easier. Bloody hell. So your mate Jim's a bit tired today, but also I couldn't have gone to the game because I had the squids. Yeah, it turns out you can't just leave kids in the house by themselves to go to watch basketball. I know. Bullshit, right? But here we are. But it was good. It was a nice night on Twitter. Everyone's getting around it, having lots of fun. So we'll talk about the Boomers China at the end of this one. We'll go through the NBA gear first. So let's start there with the daily whoosh, the whip around. Josh Green, Green's going to the Charlotte Hornets. What the bloody hell is that about? Well, what's it about? Obviously, he's been sort of half traded for Klay Thompson. That's right, because Klay was like, I don't want to play with the Warriors anymore. They don't like me. It's like, have a sook. You made $41 million last year, and you were sad. Piss off. Thing is, the Mavs had to sort of clear out a bit of cap space. They did that by sending Josh Green to the Charlotte Hornets in exchange for a couple of second-rounders that they also got sort of split, you know, with the Warriors. They send some stuff over there. Greeny goes to Charlotte. Klay ends up on Dallas. And here we go. So the sign and trade for Klay happens because Josh Greeny gets moved. I don't know about you, but trading, anytime you can trade like a 34-year-old cooked spud, anytime you can trade him and piss off like a 24-year-old weapon by the name of Josh Green who's out there kicking ass, taking names. Whoop-ha! The amazing thing is he shot 0.2% worse than Klay Thompson from 3 last year to our man Greeny. Just bloody saying. So this continues the weird trend that I think did I tweet this out? I can't remember. Of Aussies moving west to east. It's pretty strange. Josh Giddey goes from OKC to Chicago. Dyson Daniels goes from New Orleans to Atlanta. And now Greeny goes from Dallas to Charlotte. What's going on? Is it just Adam Silver going, trade all the Aussies to shit teams so they don't get better? Maybe. That's my vibe. That's Outback Takehouse for today. But still, kind of weird. What does it mean for Greeny, though? That's the big question. Josh Green probably comes out a bit of a winner as this shakes out. More time, more opportunity, more minutes. Playing next to LaMelo, next to Brandon Spindles Miller. Interesting, right? So if you think about, he played 26.4 minutes per game last year for Dallas. But when he was on the court, what was Greeny's role? 3-and-D wing. Sure. He averaged 8.2 points a game, 3.2 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 0.8 of a steal. Shot 48% from the floor, 38.5% from three. Good. The thing is, when you're the fifth priority on that floor, when you're actually out there, what are the opportunities? His usage rate was 13.1. That is fucking minuscule, mate. 13.1, that's 19th on the Mavs this year. Of all the players that played for the Mavs, he was 19th in terms of usage. He played the 5th most minutes. So you look at that sort of flipperoo, right? You're like, he's out there all the time. They don't use him that much in plays because his three-point shooting has, improved. Still not quite the dead eye. Sort of finishing off some plays here and there, but not that much. So for reference, his 13.1 would be 20th on the Hornets for this season. So you sort of figure that might go up a little bit next to LaMelo, next to Spindles Miller. And the best news, I think, for Greeny was that Miles Bridges, that absolute piece of human garbage, was being looked at by the LA Clippers because shit franchise is a shit franchise. That's the LA Clippers. That's what they do now, remember? Kevin Porter Jr., Miles Bridges. It's basically Pokemon, but for shit blokes. Got to catch them all, apparently, these fucking dumb Clippers. Can have all the money in the world, Gerald, but still no fucking sense, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, what we were saying. Hornets, Greeny, fit. I fucking love him next to LaMelo. You think about the way that Luka would use Greeny. It really took them a long time throughout this season to sort of up the pace at times, up the ante. Sometimes Kyrie would be out there, Greeny be fucking flying around. Charlotte, new coach with Charles Lee there. You've got a new shiny wing in your man Greeny, which is good. Salon, their draft pick, absolute project. So he's not projected to start, you wouldn't think. So essentially with no Terry Rozier, no Gordon Hayward, maybe no Miles Bridges, no PJ Washington there. Obviously he, is on the Mavs. So there's a clear out of the decks there in Charlotte, which is actually probably really fucking good for Josh Green. Cody Martin hasn't even been brought back yet, all right? So he could be like a supercharged Cody Martin. Actually, Cody Martin might be still in the contract. But either way, he could be like a supercharged Cody Martin, but way fucking better. He can step into the role of Bridges if Miles Bridges, that piece of shit, does fuck off. So you think about it, LaMelo, Greeny, Miller, Grant Williams, Mark Williams, Trey Mann, Micic off the bench, Salon off the bench, a couple of other names floating around there. They also picked up Reggie Jackson just into their cap space for a couple of second rounders. So, taking on some second rounders. So, look, I think it's good. It's the same with Giddey. It's almost basically the same for Dyson Daniels. They move from west to east. They go from good teams to shit teams, but they might have more opportunity. So I think all three of them sort of come out winners in this, even if I don't feel good about it. What I do feel good about, though, is, as I said, west to east, it means my watching patterns get a little bit easier, Gerald. I love this. So next season, your mate Jim will be all over the early games going, fucking there's kids, look at him go, yeah, fucking don't mind watching Chicago. And then I'll be sitting there going, fuck, do I have to watch another Charlotte game? This team sucks. But anyway, so Greeny to Charlotte, Don't mind it. Don't mind at all. How about the fit of Klay Thompson on the Mavericks? It's pretty good. I mean, he's cooked as shit though, so I don't know how you feel about that. But he can still shoot. You know, that's cool. I don't know though. This is the entire fucking thing. He's 34. He averaged 17.9 points a game. 17.9. Geez, Jim, that's not bad. Yeah, it's also his worst since 2013. I'm no math magician. That's 11 years ago. So this is the thing when it comes to shooting guards as well, and essentially guards in general. If once the downward trajectory begins, it doesn't fucking reverse once you're 35. Like it just doesn't. Because the free throw rate just completely disappears. The three-point shooting will still be there, but it's the in-between stuff. It's the physical stuff. It's the cool. Klay can spot up opposite fucking Kyrie and Luka. That's awesome. That's a great fit. But fucking traffic cone on defense because he's blown an Achilles, fucked his ACL. He can shoot threes. How's the D part? I'm not entirely convinced. Still, I like the fit. I just don't know if you want to give up Josh Green to go get Klay fucking Thompson. But Klay Thompson's a Hall of Famer. I don't give a shit. Not 34-year-old fucking Klay Thompson. Just saying. Still, all that said, it's still a handy fit for Dallas because what did I fucking say? During the finals, they need shooting. After the finals finish, you're like, they need shooting. Josh Green was like the only bloke in that fucking finals who's like, I'm ready. Let's go. Come on, motherfuckers. Let's go. He was going to take the fight to him. Now they've got Klay Thompson. They've pissed off Tim Hardaway Jr. It just feels like you could have maybe, just maybe finagled something else instead of Greeny to fit Klay under there. It's a hard ask, especially when you think about the way that Gafford and the Derek Lively and stuff work, right? You've still got PJ Washington. They bring in Dante last year. So you've still got another Aussie guard, which is nice. They get Najee Marshall. Love Najee Marshall. Love him. Love you. I feel like he and Greeny just combined probably just as a collective might be more handy than Klay and Najee. So anyway, what can you do? If you think about the rest of their salaries and that sort of weird sort of like Dwight Powell. Like what are we doing with Dwight Powell at this point? Thing is, Greeny's on like 13 mil. They clear out that space. Maxi Kleber's on 11 mil. You're like, oh, he's a bit cooked as well. I just would have pissed off Maxi Kleber. I just want Greeny. That's all I want. I'm just a bit sad he's not a contender. Anyway, Klay fits nicely. He can shoot threes with Luka and Kyrie. Their defense might be a bit fucked, but still. Does it raise their ceiling? Maybe a hint. We'll see what we get. Thing is, I think, what did I say? So the 17.9 points a game is worse since 2013. If he averages 15, you're feeling good because you're knocking down threes. You've got to pay more attention to Klay in the corner than you do for Josh Green. That makes sense. So it gives a bit more space for Luka and Kyrie to operate. So overall, it's probably fine. Hey, Kyle Anderson went to Golden State. Sure. Just talk about fucking Pokemon. They're just collecting dudes who can't grow fucking beards. So you get a puby beard. You get a puby beard. You get a puby beard. We're the Golden State puby beards. Gross. For a second round pick swap. I love that. I love a good sign and trade. 3 years, 27 million. Not bloody bad. Reggie Jackson got sent into Charlotte's cap space. They keep a couple of second rounders as well for their trouble. And obviously the biggest news, there's three really big ones that sort of after Monday that really popped off, right? Paul George to the Sixers. Donnie Mitchell signs an extension with Cleveland. And Isaiah Hartenstein, goes to OKC. These are three pretty interesting moves, right? So Paul George goes, hey, Philly, if you like Tobias Harris, which you didn't, I'm the fucking Michael Jordan of Tobias Harris's. Check this out. If you need someone to disappear in a big playoff spot, boy, have I got you fucking sorted. Philly fans are gonna fucking love it. I can't wait. They also keep Kelly Oubre. So basically, like, Kelly Oubre is Paul George, but from Wish. Paul George is the Michael Jordan of Tobias Harris's. Does this all make sense? And Tobias Harris, we nailed this one, Gerald. He went to fucking Detroit. That is the funniest shit in the world. He's like, how can I be even more irrelevant? Detroit's like, hello. Right. So let's do it. I think that's the rest. The other little bits of news, Golden State, Terry Stotts and Jerry Stackhouse signed with Golden State. Very cool. But let's do all the free agency stuff. Catch up from Monday. Paul George signs at 3:30 a.m. Basically fucking them July 1st sort of time. Goes to the Sixers. As I mentioned the other day, them taking Jared McCain with that draft pick, even with the built-in redundancy a little bit with Maxey, looks so much better when you got Paul George in place of Tobias Harris. So, aesthetically, I fucking love Paul George next to Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. It just fits. It just, geometrically, it just fits. I like it. I also wonder if Paul George is like, yeah, man, I'm a fucking superstar. And Joel Embiid's like, hello, I'm Joel Embiid. Let's all lose in the second round. But we'll see what happens. I kind of like it. Does it give them enough to sort of vault them back into contendership? You still look at Boston and go, that's really fucking good. You look at what the Knicks did. They lose Hartenstein, but they get Mikal Bridges, hello, as well as they retain OG. They've got their dudes. It does sort of feel like adding Paul George to this Sixers roster at least sort of keeps them in that 2-3 spot in the East, probably ahead of Milwaukee with Dame and Giannis and crusty old Chris Middleton. So it's a good move. It's Daryl Morey going star hunting. Has anyone ever pointed out to Daryl Morey, though, that you actually need good players apart from your fucking stars? Because the rest of that fucking Sixers roster stinks. Like McCain, don't mind it. Their other rookie center, don't mind it. But bloody hell, the rest of it's a horror show. We brought back Kelly Oubre. Great. What's he going to do? Get in another fucking bicycle accident? What a lunatic. Anyway, Paul George, though, gives them something they did not have from Tobias Harris, which is, hey, Tobias, we're going to pay you $35 million. Can you get us 19 points? He's like, you got it, boss. 14 points. You're like, fuck, not this again. Paul George, however, is like, hey, Paul George, can you get us 33 points? He's like, fuck, I might. Sure, I can. Will I? Maybe. It does give them way more upside, obviously, because he's a way better player than Tobias Harris. Will he happily guard the best perimeter scorer on the other team? We're about to find out. And this is it. They lose Nick Batum. Their depth is going to be severely tested. But overall, I just like the move because Paul George has not really played with a fucking awesome dominant center like Joel Embiid. It could really unlock both their games. I just like you think, oh, he played with Roy Hibbert back in the olden days when he was on the Pacers. Like OKC. What do they have? Steven Adams when he was there. The entire time he's been on the Clippers has been like Zubac and shit. So give him Joel Embiid. I kind of like it. Let's see what happens. I just kind of dig it. I just like the vibe. As I said, geometrically. It's all about the shape. Donnie Mitchell, back to the Cavs. 3 years, $150 million. Real loser here is Darius Garland going, what the fuck, man? All right, trade me. Interested to see what happens there for the fallout. But Donnie Mitchell is like, all right, cool. Brooklyn's fucking rebuilding. I can't go to the Knicks. I'll just take $150 million from you chumps. Not bad. Good size. But the big one really is obviously Isaiah Hartenstein going from the Knicks to OKC on a 3-year, $87 million contract. Not bloody bad for a bloke you got on the fucking mid-level. Might have not even been on the mid-level, right? Because if you think about his role for the Knicks changed dramatically as soon as your boy Mitch Robinson, the other Mitch Robinson, went down. And what sort of shook out from there is that he's like, hang on a second, I'm fucking awesome. Check this out. And the Knicks are like, oh, God, we've just been priced out of the Isaiah Hartenstein business. And it's kind of what happened, right? So I think Hartenstein overall, $29 million a year. You're just like, that is so much money for Isaiah Hartenstein. But at the same time, it's OKC's one chance to pay these dudes because they also paid Isaiah Joe a 4-year, $48 million contract and Aaron Wiggins for 5 years, $47 million. Basically, before the extensions for everybody kick in, for Chet, for J-Dub, SGA's like super mega duper extension as well. They've got like this tiny little window, and Sam Presti is like, all right, fucking let's make it rain. He's like James Harden at the strip club. He's just like, you get fucking 29 million. You get 48 million. Check this out, motherfuckers. Yeah. Give me the wings. I'm going to put you all through college. So I love it. It fills a need. Like all I did last week after the draft for OKC was like, what are you doing? Get someone who can fucking rebound. They went, shut up, Jim. We're going to go get Isaiah Hartenstein in free agency. I'm like, okay, I'll shush. So love that. All right, the rest of the moves. Tobias Harris. He's coming home. He's coming home. He's back to Detroit. 2 years. What was it, like $58 million of real American currency? Jesus. That's awesome. Aaron Wiggins, as I mentioned, Isaiah Joe, as I mentioned, get back to the OKC Thunders. That's just like locking your depth, paying your shit. Don't mind it. Good job, boys. Jalen Smith, not to be confused with Jaden Smith, not as good at basketball, I've heard, goes from Indy to Chicago, 3-year, $27 million deal. So you'll hear those ones all the time. That's like the exception amount, right? The 3-year, 27. You can give them 3 years as part of that deal, usually player or team option on the third. Pretty cool, though. Got a bit of talent. Weird that Indy didn't bring him back, but Indy instead went, fuck it, we'll pick up James Wiseman on a 2-year deal from Detroit. So that's what they did. $52 million for Tobias Harris, rather, not 58. Still, that's so much money. Just stealing money at this point. What are you doing if you're Tobias Harris as well? You're just like, why? I just want to get paid, Jim. It's like, don't you want to win? He's like, not really. Have you met me? I'm Tobias Harris. Anyway, Drew Banks goes from Phoenix to Utah, 2 years, 10 mil. Luka Garza sticks with the Wolves for 2-year minimum. Delon Wright goes from Miami to Milwaukee. I hear it's Algonquin for the good land. It's Algonquin for the good land if you're Delon Wright. Nick Batum and his wife, he's out there placating his missus once more. He goes back from Philly to the Clippers. 2 years, $9.6 million. Remember that? Because he got traded to Philly. He's like, fuck it, I shall retire. My wife does not want to move. She's like, you better retire. I fucking hate you. He goes to Philly for like 6 months. He's like, I'm coming home. And she's like, we're getting back together. That's not a French lady's accent, but I'm fucking here for it. That was good. So Nick Batum back with the Clippers. DeAnthony Melton goes from Philly to the Warriors. Oh, you've replaced Klay Thompson with DeAnthony Melton and maybe Buddy Hield. Get to that in a second. Aaron Holiday staying put in Houston, 2 years, $10 million. Goga's sticking with the Magic, 3 years, $25 million. Gary Harris sticking with the Magic as well, 2 years, $15 million. Our man's Johnny Isaac, lunatic vibes, but he's sticking with the Magic as well for a 4-year, $64 million extension. Not bad. Chris Dunn, Utah to the Clippers for the 1 year. Interesting move. We'll see if that actually goes, because I think that was still up in the air. Mo Bamba from the Sixers to the Clippers because the Sixers got Andre Drummond, which is kind of fun. And I feel like Mo Bamba ended up, wasn't he on the Lakers? What was going on there? Why does it say Philly? Anyway, Garrett Temple staying in Toronto. James Wiseman, as I mentioned, to Indy. Mo Wagner, hello. Everybody's just sticking around in Orlando rather, apart from our man Jingling Joe Ingles. 2 years, $22 million for Mo Wagner. Jingles might still return, but yeah, getting a bit worried. Monty Morris goes from Phoenix to Minnesota to Phoenix. Jesus Christ, I've got these all backwards. Minnesota to Phoenix from Monty Morris. I kind of love that because what do they need? A point guard. What is he? A point guard. So, just an actual reserve in place of Beal and Booker handling the ball the entire time. And Xavier Tillman goes back to the Celtics. Now, the other one, Jason Tatum signed the richest deal we've seen. 5 years, $315 million. That's $350 million for a 19-year-old. Not bad. Jim, he's not 19. That's the fucking joke. Come on, keep up. But 5 years, $315 million. Like, we're now at the point where an NBA player is making $60 million a year. Average. That's pretty fucked. Isn't it? It just is. What's he going to do? Buy more Maseratis? Hang out with his kid more? I don't know. Can't take it with you, Jason. Can't take it with you. So, yeah, that's kind of been all the moves up till now. I'll quickly check, Shams and Golden State are trying to trade for Buddy Hield. That was the other thing I was going to mention. Basically, it's another sign-in trade for the Warriors. They're just trying to do this sort of shit. Be interested to see how that goes with Philly. And the other big one that sort of popped off, there was like a tweet that went around earlier today. Golden State are trying to get into the Ben Simmons business. The funniest thing in the world is Golden State being light years ahead and replacing Klay Thompson, one of the 3 greatest shooters in the history of the NBA, with Ben Simmons, who I can shoot better than. Like, fucking hell, this is awesome. Warriors, I'll suit up. Let's go. I'm wearing my Boomers t-shirt today and everything. But to be honest, Box Hill Benny next to Steph, I don't mind it. Unfortunately, you can't really play Draymond at the same time, so that's a bit of a problem. Box Hill Benny coming off the bench. I'm sure he'd love that. Hey, check out my cool IG Ferrari video. I'm a bench player for the Warriors. Great job. Great job. All right. So who's left is the big question. DeMar DeRozan there has been linked to Sacramento. LeBron James, might have heard of him. Still hasn't inked come back with the Lakers, but that'll probably happen. Miles Bridges, the Clippers are kicking the tires on him. Caleb Martin has not been re-signed by the Heat yet. Interesting. Buddy Hield, as I mentioned. Isaac Okoro from the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's a lot of D, but not much of the 3, though he did up his 3-point shooting this year. He's a fascinating guy. Look, peek behind the curtain, just live Isaac Okoro. I just think he's neat. The way he shot this year, it's like, can you keep that up? Yes. Okay. Good. Then you're a really valuable NBA player. Luke Kennard, the Duckman. Tyus Jones, Simone Fonteggio, and Gary Trent Jr. Gary Terrence Trent D'Arby Jr. There's not a giant amount of names left, right? You're sort of getting to the absolute dregs of your free agency, and it does sort of feel like we will have one more just little burst of free agency news, and then it'll sort of just like simmer away for the foreseeable future. So it'd be interesting to see what happens the next couple of days. Sacramento kicking the tires on DeMar makes a bit of sense. A bit more, why not a bit more scoring on the wings for them? Don't know how they're going to swing it, but off we go. Chicago will just end up paying him 3 years max because they're fucking Chicago. LeBron goes back. Miles Bridges and the Clippers is just, ugh. Caleb Martin, he's the sneaky one. Like, if the Heat don't want him, though, I'm kind of like always a bit worried if the Heat are like, nah, we're good. You're like, what's wrong with him? Just check under the hood. Oh, yeah, it's all busted up, bro. What's going on, man? That's fucked. So there you go. Right, really quick, old mate, no mates. JJ Redick. I'm just sort of throwing this in here right now because I mentioned the assistant coaches before, right? So that was the Warriors adding Terry Stotts and Jerry Stackhouse to their coaching roster. Very cool. Turns out Terry Stotts has knocked back the Lakers 3 times. They're like, come and help. And he's like, nah. They're like, come on. And he's like, nah. Come on. I'll be your friend. He's like, nah. I don't blame him. So JJ Redick's like, oh, man, why doesn't anyone come? Like, and Dwayne Casey, same sort of vibe. I don't know if the Lakers are cheaping out on these coaches, which is very possible because remember, the Lakers are kind of sneaky cheap. And JJ Redick's like, why doesn't anyone want to coach with me? It's like, I don't know, because you got no fucking coaching experience and they're going to be like the guy who has to hold your hand the entire time while looking like a fucking idiot. And you get all the fucking, like, if they are good, then you get all the fucking roses. So I don't know. Maybe it's the coaching fraternity going, fuck you, JJ, you podcaster. As I've said, though, I will happily take an NBA head coaching gig right now if you want me to. JJ, I'll be your assistant. Hey, Jim, can you do this? Go get fucked, JJ. That'd be awesome. But outside of this, JJ Redick was obviously, look, I'm assuming forced at gunpoint to say that Bronny James had earned his spot on the Lakers roster. That's like me saying, yeah, look, Squid number 1, yeah, he's earned his spot in the house. It's like, no, he's my fucking son. He's here. He lives here. That's what Bronny's doing. He lives there because his dad is LeBron fucking James and he's on your team. Oh, no, he earned it by hard work. He's fucking my height and shit. Like, what do we like? He's basically very young me, but his dad's famous. Fuck off. Oh, he earned it with hard work. Bullshit. I get it though. There is still at least a kernel of like, there's obviously a lot of talent there. His heart problems and stuff derailed the fucking college season, so that's cool. But JJ Cole go, no, he's earned it. It's like, bloke, he was not in the fucking top 55 of draft picks. You're taking the piss. LeBron's running your fucking franchise. He's your podcasting buddy who got you a head coaching job. Fuck off. Like, don't fucking insult my intelligence, JJ. You do that enough with your fucking down talking. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back with some nahs, and then we'll talk boomers in China, and then a chat with Jack White right after, let's say, this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kadee.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, let's do it. Do some nahs. Brought to you by the NBA Straya shop. Go to nbastraya.com/shop or just click through on the socials where all the pretty pictures are. Go buy a t-shirt, go get a hoodie, whatever you need to get. Oh, the hoodies are great at the moment. I'm wearing it like every night when I get home. I'm like, this is great. It's so thick and warm. Anyway, let's do it. Matty G. Yeah, nah, you're going to have to work on a nickname for Jack McVay to go on a t-shirt. Yeah, nah, yes. Now, I told you the other day, I was at the Boomers training camp on Saturday. It was awesome because I'm like, holy fuck, Jack McVay's going to be on this team. Every bit of offense that was being run by that, I think, what were they? Were they in the green? They might have been the yellow. The yellow team were wearing, and if I check my notes, I better tell you who was on that team. Because I'm a capital J journalist. Oh no, he was in the green shirts. There you go, with Paddy, Daly, Will the Thrill Magnay, and Jack White. And McVay was just fucking the absolute focal point of that offense because he was hitting everything. It was awesome. He did the exact same thing against China last night. It was very cool to see. He is on an all-time heater from the NBL fucking finals all the way through to now. It's going to push him all the way to Paris. He's a gun. I love him. So, Matty G, you're completely right. I'm going to have to work on a Jack McVay. Look, I don't want to have to call him the Unabomber, but that might be the best one I can come up with. It's pretty good. Jeez. Anyway, how about the Jack McVay manifesto? The manifesto, it's not a bad one. But McVay should go to Paris. He's fucking awesome. I'll talk about the team in a minute. Dan D. Oh, Drosha. Yeah, no, it's Detroit signing Tobias Harris, the most Detroit thing ever. And the most Tobias thing ever. Yeah, nah, yes. It's a match made in heaven. It's like, look, how can we both be irrelevant? And it's just like irrelevancy, verbal meme, like the two dudes like clasping hands. Like, that's awesome. It's the Spider-Man meme. Irrelevant. Hey, Tobias Harris, Detroit Pistons. You really got to be watching the YouTube for this to make sense. But anyway, I love it. I love that he went to Detroit. That is such a fucking hilarious outcome. It's like, San Antonio, do you want to get into the Tobias Harris business? Nah, we're good. We've got Wemby and Chris Paul. We're fine. So don't want some scoring? Nah, you're weird. Fucking quit it. It was either there or like Charlotte or something. So Detroit is great. Because you know that someone's going to talk themselves into like, Tobias Harris is a trade chip, same as they'll do the same with Jonas Valanciunas. So I love that. Anyway, what else did Dan D say? And okay, McVay has been on the plane to Paris. He looked way better than a few of the NBA guys. Hashtag FIBA Macca. Not bad. Yeah, nah, yeah. Look, I think the toughest one for me to get by this entire Boomers campaign is probably going to be Jingles. Watching him in person, watching him last night play that game, it's just a little bit slow. The release on the shot is still pretty nice, but it's clearly not peak. Can do a little bit of everything, Jingles. And look, I think you can still take him. And I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know if you can start him, which is all right, but still, it's a bit weird. And I don't like it at all. Do you get that vibe? We should take Jingles, but it might just be for vibes. I'd also probably do the same with Daly. I don't know if he can make it, though, if you really want to fucking contend. So, with all that in mind, we've got some Boomers teams that I want to just, the 17 players, you've got to cut it down to 12. I think I think Paddy, Giddy, Dyson, Dante, Cookie, Jingles, Greeny, McVeigh, Matty T, Jock, Duop, Dally, Bubbles, or Nick K. Who are you taking? I think I'm going to take my best mate, Nick K. I think Dally misses out. Let's break him out. I think Bubbles misses out. I don't know. I think you need, like, Jock and Duop. It's good to have two centers. I feel like you need that one extra slightly big, and Nick K's kind of that. Anyway, he's also my best mate, so let's bloody go. Anyway, send us your starters. Let us know, who do you want in the Boomers squad? Because we're going to be doing a lot more Boomers stuff in the lead up to the Olympics, of course. We've got another game tomorrow night, so yeah. It's going to be a rough one. And then final, IMB. Ian Matty Batty. That's right. Ian Matthew Bassett, my favourite Perth painter out there. Ben Simmons landing with the Warriors would be the funniest outcome. Yes. Could you imagine Ben Simmons out there with that fan base in San Francisco, them just going, oh, what the fuck is this? Nope. Just nope. Like Brooklyn, I was there 6 years in person. That crowd is kind of like, hey man, we're just kind of happy to be here. We're a bit passionate. We're like awesome. Like when the vibes are high, we're all good. When it's like this sort of really fun, homegrown vibe, they're up and about. Golden State is like fucking Steph Curry or bust vibes. And if you put Simo next to him and he starts just missing shots and just being shit, they're going to tear him the fuck apart. Like you thought Philly was bad. Fucking hell, man. Like the only way it could be worse if he went back to Philly or went to the Knicks or to Boston. There's actually some pretty bad spots for him. But anyway, the Warriors, look, I think basketball-wise it could kind of fit. The toughest part is like, you can't play he and Draymond at the same time, right? Like, can you? Ugh. Don't know. Unless Simo can fucking develop a jump shot, he said 47 years into his actual NBA career. All right. Final bit before we get to Jack White, wrapping up that Boomers Boomers China game one. 107-87, the Boomers run away with the second half. Concerns. I don't have as many concerns as other folks do because this is game one of the warm-up series. It's literally Gorge going, warm up, boys. We'll see what works. Defensively, that first half was pretty worrying because it's like the NBA guys going, what do you mean I'm going to play defense? It's like, boys, you got to actually play defense. They're like, fuck, we're too old for this shit. For a little bit of that vibe. And then when you saw Dyson and Matisse out there, you're like, oh, that's defense. Hello. I fucking don't mind this. Yes, mate. Duop's out there, headbutting motherfuckers, shooting threes, getting 21 points. But Jack McVeigh was obviously the story. 24 points, goes 6 of 8 from downtown. I love his versatility, and that's the biggest strength of this squad, versatility. You can have all these sorts of guards, right? Giddy, Paddy, Dante, Dyson. There's all different looks, shapes, and sizes to those dudes, which is kind of fun. Same with your wings. If you're going to take Cookie, take Greeny. If you're going to take Jingles, if you're going to take McVeigh, if you're going to take Aussie Matty T. Again, there's a lot of variability in those names. And in terms of their sizing, they can play across 2, 3, 4, a bunch of them. And then in Jock and Duop, you've got 2 stretch fives who can do a bit of rebounding, play a bit of defense. I kind of wish there was a little bit more defense from the 5, but it's still okay. Don't mind it. Will the Thrill Magnay actually was kind of fun. I don't mind a bit of Will the Thrill. Will the Thrill. And away he goes. But that's the strength of this squad. Versatility, adaptability. You have to take McVeigh for the 3-point shooting. And the biggest thing in the back of my brain is also like, we just saw it with Bubbles last night. He went off for 14 points in 10 minutes. Chris Golding can light it up. Does Gorge trust him to actually play him this time around, right? I feel like DJ misses out. Jack White, who you're about to hear from, I still feel like his sort of versatility as well would be really, really handy, but Cooks has been so fucking good on defense. I still kind of feel like it's between those two that it gets really tough to pick. But Dyson and Matisse, when you see them play defense, you're like, can we just start hanging our hats on that shit? That is awesome. Outside of this, Paddy, Jingles, pretty old. Love having the boys there. This will be their final Olympics. Send them, hope for the best. Try to cover up their D. Because it's pretty fucking wild. Delhi came on in the second half, went, boys, we're fucking winning this game. Fuck Chorna. And off he went. That was good. But the three-point shooting with McVay, just with him in the squad, it just adds this extra fucking level of like, oh shit, look at this guy go, which we've kind of maybe lacked a little bit. Being able to crank up that D is really important, obviously. It was the way they played, though, which was an interesting one, right? I saw this in the scrimmage. So much of it was if it wasn't Duop in the middle. So Jock sits this one out. So did Greeny and Dante, right? Yeah, I think so. If it's not Duop in the middle, there wasn't much in the actual paint. And that sort of comes down to like Paddy being that little bit older and barely playing, actually, to be honest. Giddy, when he attacks the paint, looks awesome. Love that vibe. Other people had like voice concerns on Twitter last night. It's like, oh, what about shot creators and shot makers? And like, you know, when it gets down to that sort of nut crunch time, can they do it themselves? It's like, that's what you have Paddy for. It's kind of what you've almost got Dante for sometimes as well. And Josh, like Giddy just adds like an extra level to this team that you like, hopefully he can create a lot more offense out of nothing for people. And like some of the passes he was like whipping off the other day, Jesus, not bad. So after game one, just shouldn't be too many concerns. It's China. We should kick the fuck out of them again on Thursday. We'll see what happens. Gearing everything towards threes, it makes a bit of sense when it comes to FIBA, but you just want to see that next level scoring as well. But I think once you have Jock and Duop in the rotation, it gets a little bit easier. So not too stressed. All right. Game 2, I'll be there on Thursday night, so look for a ginger dickhead with the big red beard. Say good day. It'll probably be me. It'd be very funny if it wasn't. It's like, g'day, Jim. And there's just some dude going, who? What? My name's Alex. And you're like, this fucking dude. Piss off, idiot. And away you go. Right. I think that's it. All the free agency stuff. Paul George to the Sixers is pretty funny. We talked it out on Monday. Like, the legacy of the Clippers of just being a shit franchise is undefeated. It is amazing. He cost him an arm and a leg. SGA, 1 million picks. They're still paying those picks. And now he's on the Sixers. That's insane. I love it. Fuck you, Clippers. Kind of love that move, though. I love him on there. I love Isaiah Hartenstein on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Fixes a lot of their reels. Another big defensive big who can actually get out there, do a little bit of playmaking. He's a good passer, good shot blocker, great rebounder, as we saw in the playoffs. It's a big kick in the dick for the Knicks, but as long as Mitch Robinson sort of comes back healthy, I'm just saying, maybe they should kick the tires on Duop Reith. Go get him from Portland. Just saying. Let's do it, Knickerbockers. Come on. Help your mate Jim out. All right. Nothing else. Game 2, China. I'll see you there. Now let's go have a chat with Jack White right after, I don't know, this one from my best mate, Nick Kay.
This is Nick Kay, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
Jack White, NBA Straya. How are we doing?
Doing well. Just finished up our, second official day on court. Went well, taking steps in the right direction. Everyone's excited to be here, obviously, and this is a dream come true for me to be in this environment and have the chance to represent our country at the Olympics. So, been exciting times.
Not bad. All right, but that's the nerd shit out of the way. Let's dive in. Do you have a nickname? What are we doing here?
Yeah, Whitey.
That is so fucking lame.
Yeah,
come on.
But I don't know. It's people would call me Flight White back in the day, which is also pretty lame. But I don't know if you can really say Whitey anymore. It's a bit politically incorrect.
I reckon Seven Nation Army is a good starter. Just right there.
Good song, good walkout song for sure.
That's it.
I don't know if, the OG Jack White, one of the best guitarists going around. Bit of an interesting cat. Looks wise. I'm probably paler than him still.
You reckon?
I can't pull off the blue hair for sure. Funny. I'm like the second in line Jack White. I'm like the Temu Jack White.
The Temu Jack White. Yeah, Jack White, but from Wish.
Yes,
yeah, I like
exactly
that.
Right.
Nice one. What's been the vibe for the Boomers so far? Has there been much shit talk? Has there been sort of just obviously it's really super competitive, we get that. But is there sort of building that sense of camaraderie, obviously?
Yeah, building sense of camaraderie for sure. It's like a funny balance, right? We all get along so well. It's such a familiar group for the most part. Obviously there's some new guys, but everyone knows each other, everyone respects each other's game. I wouldn't say there's as much shit talk, but there's definitely, we're pushing each other, right? Everyone's sort of competing for those spots, and, that's what's going to make us better as well. So it's that fine line between, trying to rip each other's heads off and, building a really good team culture. But you know, this isn't anything new, I guess, for guys who've gone through sort of selection processes before with, you know, national teams, state teams, whatever it is. So yeah, not too different.
So you're not the new dude anymore. That feels good, right?
I don't know.
Well, you're kind of still new, but not the new.
Yeah, kind of still new, but yeah, not the new. But yeah, it kind of makes me feel like I'm getting a bit older, honestly. But like,
Sure.
Which in reality, I guess I am. But like, time flies when you're doing this stuff, and especially when you're in these campaigns, like time like just flies by. Like last year at the World Cup, it feels like, you know, one day we were just in camp in Cairns, and then like you just rip through 3 games in Melbourne, and then before you know it, it's like, fuck, you're done.
And it's over.
Yeah, so I don't know, like that's the sort of biggest thing that we've been harping on is, you know, each day is super important. You know, you need to take steps in the right direction. You need to, you know, take constructive criticism. You need to be honest. There's no time to, you know, sort of piss around and beat around the bush with things. Like, you know, we're here to win a medal, and you know, we obviously have a super talented group. So, you know, it's just down to business.
Nice. Is it like when you see like Tui and Hench out there as well, and do you sort of go, yeah, I remember that when I was that small, that young?
Not really, man. It's that long ago for me now. Yes. But no, it's good to like get on the court with those guys. Like I met Rocco and Tui in LA a few weeks ago for the first time, and it was good to obviously see them and meet them for the first time and kind of get a sense of their games up close. Like obviously familiar from afar. Like, but that's the thing. Like it's sort of a small circle in Australian hoops, and then like I knew Benny as well. But like to see him put in this environment as well and sort of have that opportunity is super cool for him. And like these are all young guys, they're coming through that, you know, go about things the right way, willing to learn, they're willing to compete. And fuck, you can't ask much more.
I love that. Who's the best shit talker here? Is it Joey?
Yeah, Joe for sure.
Yeah,
well, got him a tech today, funnily enough. But yeah, definitely Joey.
Who's the toughest to actually sort of go up against? It looks like every time I say T's up close, he's terrifying.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's just such a rangy defender, and even if he makes mistakes, he's so athletic and smart enough to be able to make up, you know, for what might, you know, I'm using air fingers here, a mistake. But, you know, that's like sort of his strength, I guess, is his license within the system to play off his instincts because, you know, obviously, we all know he has it, right? So, you know, we sort of have our home base and sort of, you know, what we like to, you know, resort back to, but at the same time, like we want to play to guys' strengths, and, you know, giving guys like that the freedom to sort of make plays on their own accord is definitely valuable, and that's, you know why we do it here, so guys can get used to that and be able to play off it as well and help each other out.
Sick. NBA. Memphis, how was that? The first Australian to play for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, interesting. No, it was a great experience. I just wish I was honestly a bit better prepared. Like I was coming off an injury and hadn't touched a rock in a week with like nerve damage in my right arm. But, you know, it came good right before the call up, and, you know, before you know it, you're on a plane and you're in Memphis and you're playing the Spurs the next night, and then you're going off to Cleveland and you're playing the Nuggets and Lakers. And it was funny as well because I was based in LA and I just caught up with all the Nuggets boys, like went to the locker room and everything, said good day to the staff.
Yeah.
And, you know, like still get on real well with those boys, and then like, yeah, fucking week later I'm playing against them again. So, you know, it was a great experience, like cool organisation, cool city. Didn't know I was the first Aussie to play for them, so that's a cool thing.
Just as well NBA Straya is here to tell you that, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Doing your job. And, but yeah, no, cool experience. Just like it was short, sharp. It was like 6 days with the team, 4 games. You know, I'd been wanting the call up for the whole year, so obviously happy that it came. Wish it would have came sooner, but
yeah, it's very last minute, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it was like a week after our G League season had ended, and that was the whole sort of reason I stayed over there was to, you know, be able to get a call up and work my way back up. But, you know, injuries, you know, different things happen, long season, you know, so. I was happy I got the opportunity at the end of it.
It's about time as well. Like I feel like they used like 38 players, I think, last year.
Oh mate, they had like bloody 20 injuries or something ridiculous. So yeah,
you walk
glad
in,
I was somewhere on the list.
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of trying to get to. I'm like, where are you on that list? Like 38. All right, Jack White. Done.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck, is it the one from Nashville? He's just up the road. Did you, like, at what point do you actually go to Josh Green and Dante and just sort of, you know, before the finals, did you give him any advice?
No, I just let him rock. I mean, for me, man, I was just.
Hey, I've been there before, boys.
Time.
Just saying, yeah.
But it was super cool to see them, I guess, develop their roles and see Dallas, who many had as sort of underdogs and doing their thing. And like, I feel like my advice, sort of, I had this feeling that, you know, we were never going to lose as long as we stayed healthy.
Yep.
So I think for them, it was sort of coming from a different place and it was just cool to watch. Like, fuck, it's cool to see a couple of Aussies have the opportunity to win another chip, and especially like be a significant part of it as well. And you see them making great plays on both ends and shooting the ball well, defensively, obviously, big time. But yeah, it was super enjoyable to watch just as like a fan, and then like a fan of Aussie hoops, and like, you know, a teammate of these guys to see them, you know, do their thing and be a big part of why their team had success.
Meanwhile, you're an NBA champion. It's pretty bloody good.
It's not bad.
All right, last one, I guess. What are your hopes for this year? I mean, United and then NBA. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, just sort of waiting and seeing with the NBA stuff. Have NBA outs in my contract, but regardless, if none of that works out, I'd be super excited. Obviously, be back in Melbourne. You know, the NBL's a great league. I don't think that's a secret to anyone. And but I think, you know, my focus right now is sort of off my professional career, and I really want to be an Olympian. That's what I've dreamed of doing my whole life. So I think I have a good shot of it. So, you know, just trying to continue to put the work in camp and obviously show the coaches what I can do and show value. But yeah, I want to represent our country at the highest level, and yeah, whatever happens professionally will happen.
Sick. Awesome. Thanks, Jack.
No, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
This is Shane Hill, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, how good was that? A bit of Jack White just hanging out at the training camp, the Boomers training camp. He and I just shooting the shit. What a legend. I really just hope he makes it to Paris, because he's fucking cool as, and I hope he comes back on the show, because it was good old chat about stuff, which was fun. All right, so we might leave it at that, I think, until next week, because we've got the Boomers game on Thursday, so I'll be at the game, I'll be tweeting and stuff, doing lots of fun stuff. But outside of that, unless something massive happens, I've got the Squid on Friday. Might not do a Friday show, so we might be back next week and just sort of do winners and losers from the entirety of free agency as sort of it comes to a grinding halt, wrap up that second China game, and then sort of move to, like, you know, once a week for the next couple of weeks until we like really ramp up for the Olympics. So yeah, plenty of stuff going on. It's going to be fun on the bun, trust me. All right, so until then, I guess you better get around the NBA Straya Twitter, IG, Facey. Check us, you know, big follow on the old socials, all the good stuff. Same with the AFL Today show, because I'm just talking footy all the time, which is great. Go check it out on the socials and on your old podcast app. And of course on YouTube, you can watch this one, you can watch that one. I'm standing here in my sick Boomers t-shirt. What are you doing? Get around NFL Australia as well as the Cricket Today podcast, Football Today podcast, hold all tickets, all the stuff we do. Check us a rating review in your Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, whatever weird app you use on your Android phone, all that stuff. Rate, review it, or I'll fight you. I don't want to have to, but I will. Just saying. Get around nbastraya.com/shop, get your merch. And a big thanks always go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song, They Rule. So do House Hats, Joshua Delarentis, Fascinator Gold Mines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Section A, Green, and Dozers. They're behind all the tunes you hear throughout the show. Smash them on Bandcamp, Georgia and Earth, Facey, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. Remember, NBA Straya supports Australian bands. All right, that's it. Perhaps for this week, if anything crazy pops off, we'll maybe jump on Friday. But until then, we might just come back next Tuesday and go from there. Sound good? Good. Great. All right. Have a good weekend. We'll see you at the Boomers China game. Look after yourselves, would you? And let us know.